Hey Geminis, welcome to your winter solstice reading where we'll take a peek at events that might be unfolding for you over the next 3 or so months. So we're going to start first by pulling a couple of oracle cards to see what energies are surrounding this reading for you. And the first card that we have out for you is Intention, the Honoring Path. And let's pull another and see what other energies are surrounding my Gemini collective for this winter solstice season. And what else came out for you is Gibbous Moon. You are very close to achieving your goal. So for my Gemini collective out there, it almost feels as though the energy that's surrounding this reading for you is one that is much related to you sort of doing what feels right to you. Being on the honoring path, it feels as though you are sort of recommitting to your own internal truth. And you are either in the process of or sort of gotten to a place where you are only doing things that you know are in your best interest. So setting aside other people's expectations, the stresses that may have come with, what other people wanted you to do as opposed to what you wanted to do. It almost feels as though there were some divergent paths that you may have been on where, this person or this group of people over here was like, oh, Gemini needs to do this. Gemini should be doing this. This is where Gemini should be placing their focus. This is what they should want for their own lives. And you're kind of like, yeah, that's not exactly precisely what I had in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and take this path over here, the one that feels right for me. And it feels as though you have sort of set your goals based on what excites you and those things that feel comfortable and good to you. And so once you set those goals and sort of committed to them, it feels as though you have had this bit of unshakable energy that's surrounding you. That's kind of like, yeah, well, this is what you all wanted, but guess what? It's not what I wanted. So I'm going to be over here with it. If you all choose to support, if you don't, fine, whatever, makes no difference to me. I have goals that I need to achieve. And so I think that you being steadfast in all of this and sort of honoring yourself and what your desires are pushing you closer to achieving the goals that you have set for yourself. But let's get into some tarot and see what other messages we can pull. So looking at this season for you as a whole, what is the overall energy for winter solstice season for my Gemini collective? And what we have for you is the Four of Coins. So I actually kind of like this card because the Four of Coins, it can be interpreted as being a little bit stingy, but I think in the context and energy of this reading for you guys, it really means that you're sort of holding back. You're keeping things close to your chest. Right? You're not necessarily involving everybody in your business. You're not looking for them to help you. You're not looking for people to do anything on your behalf. It's really like, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to go and get. We have the Wheel of Fortune and the Hierophant in reverse. And so these really fit in with the overall energy that's surrounding this reading because the Wheel of Fortune is really about sort of fate, right? It's about things coming to fruition that were meant to be for you. And so I think that more than anybody else in your life, you know what you want and you know what's best for you. And you are leaning on your intuition and following that path towards that. With the Hierophant in reverse, this is a card that's all about institution. It's kind of doing things by the book. It's about sort of doing things in a way that's expected, that's normal from a societal perspective. And I think that you guys are bucking that trend a little bit where you're just like, yeah, my path is not your path. And that's okay. Like, at least it's okay for me. I don't know how you feel about it, but guess what? It also doesn't matter very much. So going forward and looking a little bit into your love life, we have the Magician. So the Magician is always an interesting card because it's someone who has the ability to transform things. They have all of the tools that they need. The Magician has the wand, they have the cup, they have the pentacle, they have the sword. And they can use any or all of these tools as they choose at will to get to their sort of desired endpoint. So from a love life perspective, you have everything you need internally. So I think the question is external, what's going on? And so we have the Six of Wands to clarify. So the Six of Wands, when it's upright, is really about being validated. It's being recognized or celebrated by other people. And so I think for my Gemini collective out there, and you might not want to hear this, but I think that for a lot of your encounters over the next few months, you're going to be too much. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because you're always going to be too much for the wrong person. But you are going to be absolutely just right for the one who you are meant to be with. So understand that over the next 3 months, you are building yourself, that you have learned, I think, some pretty hard or challenging lessons throughout your life. And you are approaching love and romance in a much different way than you have been approaching it previously. So you're in a place where you're not necessarily looking for validation. I do think that you are going to encounter some people that are going to challenge that a little bit for you. There are going to be people, I think, who are going to be looking for you to dim your shine or to sort of minimize the gifts that you have to offer. So I feel like this is just a little bit of a test to make sure that you are actually committed to your path for goals. So if you want a committed relationship, if you want marriage, or whatever that sort of interaction, that loving interaction with someone else looks like for you, I almost feel like Spirit is like, are you sure? You sure you learned your lessons? You're not going to be with the, with the fuckery and tomfoolery and shenanigans that you may have encountered before. So I almost feel like when it comes to your love life, this is the time for you to really make sure that you enforce your boundaries, because you're ready, but it's a matter of making sure that whomever you encounter is on your level and they're ready for the same thing that you are. Now, when it comes to your finances, we're starting off with the Sun. This is happiness. This is a very childlike energy. This is purity that's coming in. So there's nothing sort of untoward about, the Sun. It's feeling that warmth. It's feeling that excitement. It's the embodiment of possibility. And there's a lot of learning that happens with this. And we also have that clarified by the Moon. So it's interesting that you have two sort of seemingly opposing cards that are coming out for your finances. With the Sun and the Moon, there's something here that's going to be uncovered in due time when it comes to your finances. So things are going to be revealed to you bit by bit is what I'm feeling. And I think that with the Sun card, being sort of in the primary position here, that there's this sense of exploration, of understanding, of asking questions. Again, that childlike energy. When you have a kid around you, they're so curious about the world and they constantly ask, why? Well, why is this? What's that? There's so many questions that they're trying to get answers to. And so I think that when it comes to your finances, this is going to be a period of you exploring and investigating and trying to get answers. So if you are looking at starting a business, then you're going to be asking a lot of questions. Well, what do I need to start? What do I need to get put in place? What resources do I need? What paperwork do I need to fill out? Should I work with other people? What technology do I need to use? So again, that energy of trying to get to the bottom of things. If it's, you being working at an organization or a company and figuring out what your next steps looks like. Maybe having a conversation with your manager. What do I need to do to get that promotion? Am I on the right track? What am I missing? What should I do more of? What should I do less of? So when it comes to your finances, this is very much going to be a season of you uncovering things, asking a lot of questions and getting the answers that you need to figure out how you can best move forward. So challenges that you might encounter over the next few months, we have the Seven of Wands in reverse. So the Seven of Wands is a very defensive card. And I think that over, this period of time during this winter solstice, this path that you are taking, that you have, I think a little bit of opposition to coming from other people, I think that it's going to be difficult for you, at least initially, to, quote, justify the decisions that you're making and the path that you are now on. I think that because these people around you, and it's interesting, Gemini, because it very much feels like a mixed bag. There are some people around you who are absolutely not in your corner. They are not Team Gemini. There are also other people who mean well, that they want the best for you. And this path that you're taking is a little bit outside of the box that they've placed you in. It's a little bit different for them, and they're acting the way that they act out of concern. But that's not everybody in your circle. And I think that at some point, while you figure out how to discern between those two groups, that you're going to have to figure out a way to just let go of justifying yourself or explaining yourself to people. And I think that because you do care about the folks who are around you, that it's going to be a little bit more difficult than maybe you anticipated. So we also have the Emperor in reverse and the Lovers in reverse as well. So this fits in these relationships, these connections that you've had, and feeling like you're maybe giving up a little bit of yourself by constantly fighting against people's perceptions or people's opinions of what you are doing. So I almost feel like this is a little bit of a caution from Spirit saying, you know what, if this is a path that you choose, if this is where your intuition and higher self is guiding you, you don't need to explain to other people. But I think that off of the strength of you caring about them, it's something that you want them to get comfortable with. And not everybody is going to be. So I think that that might be a little bit of a challenge for you guys. Now, something that's going to flourish throughout this time period, which is great, we have the Five of Swords in reverse. So upright, the Five of Swords is really about, it's a fighting card. And it's almost a situation where it's like, well, you're fighting all of these battles at what cost? What have you lost in all of this? And so I feel like you're going to get to a place where you're going to stop fighting these battles that ultimately don't net you anything. It feels as though, again, these challenges that you've experienced with trying to explain to other people why you're on this path and what it is that you want to do, to what end? Are these people going to help you out? Are they going to all of a sudden turn around and be your cheerleaders? It feels as though you're going to let go of that and you are just going to, sort of go with your own flow. And we have that clarified by the Eight of Wands in reverse. So the Eight of Wands, when it's upright, is very rapid, quick movement. It's messages coming in, super, super fast. But having this card in reverse and with the Five of Swords in reverse, it feels as though there's going to be a lot more thoughtfulness, a lot more consideration from those people who are Team You. So that's something that you can look forward to. You're going to get support from the people that it's most important that the support comes from. But this is going to be a process. It's not going to be something that happens overnight, but it is something I think that is going to give you a certain level of peace. So your personal growth during this time, and I love this. The first card that we have out for you is the Five of Cups in reverse. So when it's upright, the Five of Cups is really about feeling regret. It's, crying over spilled milk. It's asking yourself what could have been. And I think that you all have gotten past the point where you don't act on your intuition, that you don't necessarily trust yourself. And we also have that clarified by the Queen of Swords in reverse. Now, upright, the Queen of Swords can be a very cutting energy, right? They are very blunt. To be perfectly honest, the Queen of Swords can be a little bit bitchy. That's not always a bad thing, but I think that you are in a place where you realize that you do not have to defend yourself constantly against other people's opinions. You don't have to justify your life choices to everybody, because everybody is not necessarily meant to be with you on this journey. So, I think that you are on the right path. It feels very much as though you were doing what you know deep down is best for you. And you're not letting anybody sort of upset that equilibrium and drive that you have found. So that's what I got from my Gemini collective. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I will see you on the next one.